We finally made it, and who would have guessed it? The New York Giants and the Eagles and a bunch of other teams made the playoffs that we probably didn't think were going to make the playoffs, like the Jaguars. The Lions almost snuck in. The Packers are out. Brady and the Bucks somehow are in. It's shocking, man. Like I keep looking week to week, and every team sucks. Like officially, there's no good teams in the NFL, Dave. Like maybe the Chiefs are good. They're pretty damn good because they have Mahomes and they have, Andy Reid out there in Kansas City. But outside of the Chiefs right now, every team is suspect. Like every team is kind of not that good. And it should make for a great playoff run. Your Eagles are pretty good, but they haven't looked so good as of late. But they're definitely the favorites coming out of the NFC. AFC, it's the Chiefs, maybe the Bills, maybe the Bengals. A couple teams are coming in limping, like the Dolphins and the Ravens without a quarterback. So should be a fun opening weekend. We're going to be going over bets. We're going to be going over our favorite plays for DFS. We're going to draft some teams. Going to do a 2 and pass. Dave, before we get going here, man, like usually by this point of the season, we know who the MVP is. We know who the coach of the year is, but I feel like we don't. Who is it if you had to make a decision, who would it be?
Yeah, I think MVP is actually easy because the way Hurts missed the past few games. I think it's Mahomes, and I think it's Mahomes by a pretty wide margin. Coach of the year, you got me on that one. I think there's so many deserving candidates. You already talked Giants with Dable. You already talked, Sirianni. But I guess, for me, it's Doug Peterson. I just think turning a team that had the number one pick 2 years in a row into a playoff caliber team, and to have them have a home field game, finish above 500, I just think the world of what Doug has done to that team.
Nah, definitely good coach. I probably give the slight lean for the Giants because they're so banged up. They don't have a wide receiver, Saquon and Daniel Jones. I don't know how they win games, to be honest with you. They've won some miraculous games early, but yeah, it's close, man. That's what I'm saying. Like nobody's really knows who deserves to get it. But it's an interesting weekend, man. Like outside of a couple potential blowouts, there'll be some close games. Seattle, San Fran kick us off first. This game, look, even though it's Brock Purdy, the Niners are still favored by 10. 9.5, 10, depending on when you got it, where you got it. Probably sitting around 9.5 right now. McCaffrey in a great spot. San Fran full healthy. Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. McCaffrey is a guy that I'm going to be trying to get in this DraftCast a little bit later. On the backside of things, look, Geno is a starting quarterback in this league, but really tough defense against San Fran. Kenneth Walker shows up, but again, really tough defense. They're only projected to score 16 here. So probably off most of the Seattle players, but there are so many different slates where we're going to have to play all these teams, all these players, whether you're playing just Saturday only slate, which is going to be 2 games, or Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or every game will have a showdown. You got to do your research on all these games, and we're going to be chopping it up, going over our favorite plays from these games. So make sure you check us out at windailysports.com. Use promo code WINBIG to lock in projections, lineup optimizer, articles. Our guy Six Picks is, just going in with the projections right now. So he'll be changing things throughout the week as more news comes out. There's a couple names we're still waiting on. But hop in there, windailysports.com, promo code WINBIG, and hop in that expert chat and really chop it up with us over the next couple of days because it's going to be a fun, weekend with all these showdowns. We're going to have Monday night game showdown and then all the Saturday, Sunday slates in between. A game that I really do like for DFS, Dave, you can talk about. He talked about Peterson. He talked a little bit about Trevor Lawrence, but the Jags are slight underdogs, 2.5-point underdogs against Herbert, playing at home. How do you size this game up from a betting perspective, DFS perspective? What do you like?
Yeah, just one comment on the Seattle game as well. Kittle, and more Kittle. Seattle's 32nd against tight ends. You really got to get Kittle in any chance you get. And Metcalf, 14 catches against the Niners this year. I think you can get there with Metcalf because they will be potentially trailing. But looking, like you said, at the Jacksonville game, the better game on the slate on Saturday, from a betting perspective, I look at it simply, who do I trust more in a big game? Not Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert, because neither has really played in one. It's Doug Peterson or Brandon Staley. And to me, talked about it earlier,
Obvious.
I would put in the match every day of the week. Getting points at home, I just think is a value here. The Chargers find every which way to lose games. Let's not forget that. So I just can't put my money on the Chargers as a road favorite. They're a more talented team. They should win. And when that happens, it's usually the other side. So I'm leaning Jacksonville from a betting perspective, but from DFS, it's all over the place. And I think we really got to look at Travis Etienne long, and we got to really consider making him one of our star players of the weekend, because the Chargers are really weak up front, and running backs have exposed them week in and week out. Even, what was it, last week, I think Latavius Murray got in the end zone once again. So teams continually run the ball against the Chargers. We got to look at ETN, and then we also got to look at Kirk. I really feel good about this week.
Yeah, this game is going to be the game that I think most people will flock to in the Saturday only slate, even Saturday, Sunday. Herbert's cheap. ATN too cheap. Keenan Allen with a potential slightly banged up, maybe Mike Williams. He's getting a ton of targets. He's healthy right now. Kirk in a great spot. Evan Ingram's been good as well. So this will be a game they'll definitely targeting now. Miami and Buffalo. Miami's coming in limping in without Tua, and they're going to get smoked here, barring any kind of injury to somebody on Buffalo or something wild happening. Buffalo gets a very easy matchup with no Tua. Skylar Thompson is not ready for this game. He's not ready to go to Buffalo. This team only scored. They got something crazy happening at the end of the game. They got a couple points on the board, but they barely beat the Jets. If you had the Jets, you didn't cover late off of that crazy safety that came in late. A lot of people weren't too happy about that. But look, there'll still be some volume for Tyreek Hill and Waddle. It hurts both sides of this game for me because, look, Josh Allen, the safest quarterback on the entire slate, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, however you want to look at it. He's got the most upside, running floor. But they're favored by 2 touchdowns here. So, how much Josh Allen do you need for the Bills, who are well-rounded, all around the ball, offense, defense, to beat the Dolphins, when the Dolphins only projected to score around 14, 15 points. So it lowers some of the ceiling out of Josh Allen. So Diggs in a great spot. One of these wide receivers could pop off, not named Diggs, like a Gabe Davis or a Dawson Knox, or Singletary or Cook in a good spot. They're cheap, get different. A lot of people will still stack up Josh Allen. I don't know if he's worth the 7.9 price tag in a potential blowout. You can't really just, rule out a tight game. Maybe Skylar Thompson figured things out and they make some big plays on defense. Josh Allen's been, kind of bad with turnovers as of late. So this could be a tighter game, but blowout is definitely looming here. Dave, any betting perspective on this game at all? Or are you staying away?
Yeah, I'm staying away. I hate teasers, but if I did feel a little bit, teaser happy come Sunday morning, that would be the best I could do with Buffalo here. Buffalo scares me a little bit with big numbers. As you said, Josh Allen turns over at the wrong time. Even last week when you felt like they were in cruise control, got the kickoff return for a touchdown to start the game for Damar Hamlin. They found ways to let New England back in.
Yeah, they would have lost that game if it wasn't for the 2 kickoff returns. Yeah. They scored 14 special team points. They could have lost that game, and the Patriots potentially could have made the playoffs. But, yeah, this team they're kind of destined. They're not destined. They're shaky. They're finding ways to win. It'll help them, but at the same time, I don't know if this is a game to stack up the Bills where it could turn into a blowout pretty quick in Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one name that you said that I think is going to be something that we need to at least put on the board and use as much as we can where we can is Dawson Knox. Had the 6-catch, 98-yard game against Miami last time out. Miami 29th against tight ends. And in a game, that's one of, Allen's good friends. So I think if he gets a little tight down there, the red zone, he's going to rely on his old tight end, his buddy Knox. So I like Knox in this situation. I'm kind of with you. I don't know how much Miami I can play. Tyreek Hill came out with a bad ankle 3 times last week, came in and out of the game. And from that standpoint, I'm off. I really thought he was going to get volume with Thompson because I thought that was going to be a safety blanket. And with his injury, I just can't. So if I play anybody on Miami, it's Waddle. And that's about it.
Yeah, this is the injury that didn't just pop up last week. It's been lingering
Yes.
for like 3 or 4 weeks now where he's been battling through. And I think part of it's kind of like just, I got Skylar Thompson and I'm playing hurt. Like, we can't, it's not that they say he can't win, but at the same time, like, why am I hobbling around when this dude can't get me the ball regardless and we're probably going to lose? I think part of that is working into the mix. And if it's late in this game and they're getting blowed out and it's Skylar Thompson throwing the ball, Tyreek Hill upside limited at 7.9. But because of that, maybe some ownership will come off Tyreek. So he's always in play. I won't talk anybody off him, but not a guy that I'm going to be trying to get to. Now, this next game on Sunday, Giants, Vikings, there's players I like on both sides here. 48 total, 48.5. Vikings favored by only 3 at home. Look, Daniel Jones, too cheap. Barkley in a great spot. You have all these cheap receivers for New York. Every week it's kind of different. I think Hodgins is kind of emerged as like my favorite guy to go to, but Slayton has maybe potentially slighter higher upside if he breaks a long one here. Hodgins 4.1. DraftKings is saying take anyone you want. You want Slayton at 4.2. You want Hodgins at 4.1. You want Richie James at 3.9. Kenny Galladay scored a touchdown, I think, last week at 3K. So they're all cheap. He's got to make sure you get the right one or two in this lineup. And then, running it back, you got Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen's always good for a touchdown. KJ Osborne has been, really turning into the number 2 wide receiver here. You got Hawkinson as well. Dave, you mentioned 2 tight ends you already like. I'm assuming you might like some Hawkinson as well here. He had a monster game against the Giants. I don't know how he got 16 targets in a game as a tight end, but he did. 13 receptions, 109, 2 touchdowns. So if you look at the box score, Hawkinson's the best play on the board because they just played each other a couple weeks back. But different environment. It's the playoffs here. But this is definitely a game that I'm going to be targeting in the Sunday-only slate or the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Everybody's healthy. Good defenses. Good offenses, not good defenses here. So a game that I like a lot going into Sunday.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This weekend we get, what do we get? 6 games, right? Everyone is a rematch. So in this one, we had a 27-24 game where a 61-yard field goal at the buzzer, decided it for the Vikings. One of their 11 one-score wins on the season. And you just have to understand and you have to realize we're going to get that type of game again. And maybe not quite in the scoring environment, but we're going to get a nail biter. These 2 teams are going to play tough. And what I think I like the most about what you said, Hawkinson, right? You keyed on how many targets he got. The Giants can't go into this game and play the way they did. Who do I think is the beneficiary of that? I think it's Dalvin Cook. I think they're going to have to get some backers out of the box, and they're actually going to have to guard up and maybe play a little bit more zone coverage. And because of that, I think Dalvin Cook is probably the beneficiary. And the other guys we loved and I agree with, I think Jefferson is in for a big game. And I do like Richie James the most out of those 3. 26 targets past 4 weeks, 6.5 on average. Hodgins has been doing great, but give me 6.5 catches for a $3,900 receiver. I'm in. So I think I like him the most on that side.
Crazy that both Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson both got 16 targets in that game. Like, for 2 different receivers to both get 16 targets in a game, it's just bonkers, man. It's crazy. Yep. High-scoring game. It's probably going to be the most popular for the Sunday only. But if you're playing Saturday through Monday, there's going to be a couple pieces in this game. You got to get these wide receivers right for both sides. I like Saquon, too. I think he's fairly priced. I slightly lean Saquon over Dalvin Cook. I just think, Madison comes in and he could vulture a touchdown. Cook can struggle in certain games here. Barkley's the pedigree. Barkley's just that guy who's going to be on the field, do or die, playoff spot. He had a big game, 10 targets, in that same crazy game against Minnesota, 14 for 84. So he's been super consistent all year long, and I think this is a great spot in a dome. Now, this next game, I would say it's 90% sure at this point that Lamar Jackson is not going to play. He hasn't practiced in weeks. So, look, this is blowout. Joe Burrow has looked great. This offense has looked great. They're playing at home. They're a really good team. They're kind of the dark horse almost favorite still to come out of the AFC or make a run here against the Bills and against the Chiefs. The Ravens are toast. Without Lamar Jackson, they're not going to win this game on the road. It's a shared backfield with Dobbins and Drake and Hill, and Tyler Huntley can't throw the ball. So I really don't want anybody. I was all in. I hit the lock button last week on Isaiah Likely. It's the reason why I cashed all my lineups. He was 2.8 smash spot, and it just opened everything up. But, Mark Andrews is going to be back here. And Andrews, fairly priced, at 5.2. Not in a bad spot. If there was anybody to play on the Ravens side with all the other tight ends on the slate, Mark Andrews might be forgotten. So he's not in a bad spot here. I just think there's a lot of blowout potential here. And even if it's not blowout potential, the Ravens defense, hold in. They bring pressure to Burrow, turn them over. It's just a run game, and it's split up. There's not value going to like one or two guys. So I'm off the Baltimore offense outside of Mark Andrews, maybe get a share or two. No Huntley for me. Burrow in a great spot. Chase in a great spot. Higgins in a great spot. Boyd can always get there. Hayden Hurst can always get there. You want to take a flyer on Irwin. Who knows? He might find a way to get open for a touchdown. Mixon in play as well, but I'm off Mixon. I don't really want to run Mixon in this spot, even though, look, there's going to be some touchdown equity. They're going to move the ball. The projected score, 3 touchdowns here. So that's how I got this game pegged. Dave, how are you feeling about this game? Is this a betting spot for you to back Burrow at home?
No, it's another one where they might fall in my teaser if I end up going that way. But if I do take a straight up play on this, it will lean towards the Bengals. I will tell you this much. If Lamar Jackson plays, I'm taking the Bengals with the points more than I am if they end up with Huntley or Brown. I think it will be a travesty putting him out there. I think it will make him too one-dimensional. I saw this with Robert Griffin III years and years ago. Shouldn't have been out there, ended up really hurting himself more, and I think that could happen. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as we get closer to the game. But one guy you really got to keep an eye on is Jamar Chase. In his career against the Ravens, 4 games, and he's had 30 catches, 462 yards receiving. He's lit them up. 8 catches, 7 catches, 7 catches, 8 catches, averages 11.5 targets. This is that one division rival. He gets up for it, and they feed him the ball. So get yourself some Jamar this week. I loved your likely play last week. I don't know if we can go back to that well this week.
No, you can't go back. Mark Andrews is going to be back, so you can't.
Yeah, and I don't even think you can go Andrews, too. It's just if they're smart, they clog the middle and let the outsides do what they have to do. So I'm with you. I think it's if I'm going to play anything Ravens, it will be a shot in the dark on the quarterback, but I really doubt I'm playing anything there.
Yeah, look, I think the best betting spot, and we've been talking about it on Sirius. Our guy David Meltzer has been talking about it. Me and C have been joking around about it. And we've been joking around about it for a couple of weeks now. We said, whoever Dallas is playing in the first round, we're betting against them because they're definitely going to choke.
Yes.
And they look like complete ass against Washington. Like Dak's stat line, I think he completed like 7 passes out of 30, whatever. It was terrible. He looked bad. This team has choked all year long in similar spots. It's Brady. Brady's at home. They're getting points. Everything's telling me I should be betting Brady here. I might end up betting it. I just want to get the okay from a couple guys over at the Sharp app that I trust. And your take and Sia's take, everybody else's take. But Meltzer's been telling me for a month now to bet against whoever's playing the Cowboys. Now, in this spot, Brady had his best game, in the second to last game when it all counted. He stepped up. This is not a good matchup for Brady, though. Like, this is a team that can bring a lot of pressure. How do you beat Brady? Bring a lot of pressure. So it's kind of a good matchup for the Cowboys, as crazy as it sounds. A team that has been struggling on offense, not the best defense. They've been struggling all year. Dallas has looked like the better complete team. If I had to compare them, the entire season over the Bucs, but just comparing Brady versus Dak, who's going to lead this team to a win? Probably leading Brady here. This is going to be a Monday night game, so we get to all watch it. America's team against Brady. Dave, for the first time today, I just happened to be flipping through the channel with my wife earlier. They're actually making a movie, which is like kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you've seen this trailer yet, but it's a bunch of old ladies who are like 80 years old, that are going to watch Brady at the Super Bowl, which is like, did you see this preview or am I the only one that saw it? Because I just happened to see it today. Look
No,
kind
I
of
haven't.
weird. Gronkowski's in it. Like they got cameos in it. So it's kind of weird, but off topic. How do you feel about this game betting wise, DFS wise? Do you like it or is it
Yeah,
a
I do.
spot to attack Dak or what?
Yeah, I think a lot of the points you said are extremely valid. And first off, what's up, Yvonne? Thanks for checking in. Definitely followed your college articles. If you guys did any college football, you definitely watched me and Joel. But Yvonne was writing them all the
Did you
time.
bet? Did you bet Georgia or no? Side note, did you bet Georgia?
Yeah. Yeah, I swept the playoffs. I bet Georgia hard. So,
Bro,
yeah,
I bet it hard, and I was on points
we're good.
bet. You're able to do that points betting thing where you can you get. It's almost like you're playing a parlay. Every point you cover by, you get extra.
Oh,
I was
nice.
I was gonna do it on there. I swear to God, I was gonna do it. I'm like, I didn't have money on my points bet account at that point, so I'm like, I was gonna max out my bets on the other accounts, whatever cash I put it on. I made a bunch of money, but I was right there about to do it, and would have paid 35 to 1. So if I put 100, it would have been really, really good because they just smoked them by 50 whatever points. The max you could have won, I think, it was 35 on top of the spread, which would have been nice. A $100 bet would have won you $3,500, which was pretty sick. But
Yeah.
well, I just got lazy. I'm like, whatever, it's okay. I'll just win $100, $200 somewhere else. So
take it, and that's what. And then I also had Georgia team total over, so I doubled down. So that was done at halftime. It was really nice. And Yvonne, not the only dummy out there. I watched Robert Griffin. I watched Joey Galloway. I watch a lot of people say TCU outright. So it's all good. It just happens. But hey, with
Yvonne's
that said,
got the name of the movie, Dave. 80 for Brady. That's the name of the movie. It's crazy.
I can't. I won't be on that one. But so you bring up a lot of good points. And do you remember how Dallas finished the playoffs last season? I mean, it was with a loss, but do you remember how?
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't remember how. I know it was embarrassing, and they just shit the bed in the first round. And they were big favorites in the first round.
There's about
I forgot who they lost to.
Not big. Not big. It was San Fran. I think they were 2 or 3 point. I was big on San Fran, but there were about 7-8 seconds left, and Dak decides he's going to run the ball down the field and slide and try and get his team
they
back
ran
to the
out
line
of
of
time,
scrimmage.
right? They ran out of time, right? Yeah.
Didn't even come close. It's not just him. It's Mike McCarthy. It's all the stupid stuff they do that I can't take them to win any meaningful game come December in the playoffs. Yes, they beat the Eagles. Good for them. That was with Gardner, but good for them. They played a really good game. This one's big, and I will take TB12 all day, every day. I worry about Bowles a little bit, but I heard the offensive line's getting some pieces back, going to help them out there. I'm with you. I think Tampa is the side in this one. And from a DFS perspective, it's a beautiful game. I don't think it's like week one. I think we're going to see some points in this one. And I am going to look for that connection of Brady and Mike Evans because, believe it or not, Diggs, for all his good, he definitely keeps his head in the backfield, and they know that. And I think the way to beat Diggs is long. You don't do that with Godwin. You do that with Evans. So I like the Evans to Brady combo. And it caught on really well the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's something that we got to, keep an eye on. It's a situation where that's going to be, a showdown game. We're going to have to get shares of all these guys one way or another. It's going to be a tough little slate to play. But I think the best thing we can do right now, Dave, instead of doing a Saturday slate or a Saturday, Sunday slate, let's cover all the games, have the board way open for me and you to go in there and do our thing. So I'm going to pull up the DraftCast here. We're going to get to it. And we're going to draft Joel. Had too much fun on the PGA DraftCast last night with Jason Sobel and Spencer and Sia. So he's a little bit under the weather. So it's me versus you, Wildcard Weekend. And we're going to do the Saturday to Monday slate. So we're going to basically have the entire board to pick from. I know you're going to play your roster with 4 tight ends because you said you love every single tight end on the slate.
I love them.
I gotta watch out for my tight ends so I don't get stuck with a bum there. But you can go first, man. It's not going to be tough picking. I made a dummy lineup, earlier today, just messing around at the office. So maybe I can roll this same lineup here. You go first, man. I'll go second.
All right. One game we talked about we really want to try and get a lot of shares of. I'm going to kick it right off. Guy that was 9,100 last week, down to 84 this week, and playing a much easier team. I'll take Justin Jefferson as my first pick.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be the guy that everybody kind of gravitates to.
Yep.
It's prime time for him. It's playoffs for him. There's a reason why he's been doing what he's been doing. Um, I'll stay with quarterback here. I think Josh Allen might be limited with some upside. Same thing with Burrow, might be limited with some upside. I like the price on Burrow. Allen in a great spot, but I'm going to go with Herbie. I just think he's going to have to pass the ball a bunch, get a little bit of discount off of Joe Burrow. I currently got him as the guy to go to. He's let me down before too, though. That's the only thing that like bothers me about Herbert. He's been in good spots all year, but he's finally getting his team healthy. And I'm hoping for a big game. I don't like Staley. I think he's probably gone if they don't make a run this year, in the playoffs and win at least one game, potentially two games. He might be gone. They got smoked by Jacksonville somehow too in week 3. Different team, different game. Herbert did all right, 297, but taking a shot on a discount. If you want to go safer, I think Josh Allen and Burr are slightly safer here, but I do like Herbert as well.
All right, I'll give you 2 though. Let's do the snake way. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll go with McCaffrey as well. Top dog on the slate. He's just looked electric as of late. And he didn't have to do much last week. I think Seattle's going to hang in long enough in this game for him to
I
hit
agree.
25-point floor in this game. He's just catching passes. He's getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 targets in close games here. So give me McCaffrey, 8,900. It's going to be all McCaffrey, from the run game. I don't think anybody's going to really take too much away from him. So give me McCaffrey. You got the discount on Herbert.
I like it. Hey, going to answer Mark Toth asking us who I will think will make the Super Bowl. Well, I'll get ridden out of Philly if I don't pick the Eagles. So I'm going to go Eagles and take that with a grain of a little bit of homerism. They're going to have to really to do this. They're going to have to get a favorable path. That's my opinion. And the favorable path would start with something like a Giants victory. I'd even take Tampa coming here, but and on the other side, I'm taking the Bills. I think there's real value in the motion they're going to have, and they're going to have the whole country on their side if it ends up Bills Chiefs in a neutral site. And I think this is the year that they'll get that luck shining down from above. So I got Eagles Bills. How about you, Jay?
Eagles have it so easy. If they just stay healthy and Jalen stays healthy, the NFC is bad, man. It really is bad. It was so bad where I was like, if Aaron gets in and the Packers get in, maybe they can make a run. And they lost the Lions. It's like that's how bad the NFC is. And we're talking about the Bucs potentially making a run just because it's Brady. It's weak out there. Vikings are suspect. Cowboys suspect. Giants just hanging on by a thread. So it's got to be the Eagles coming out of the NFC. Outside of that, on the AFC side, still, kind of open as well. I do think the Niners can pose a threat as well. And then on the AFC, the Niners would be the team that can really pose a threat to, the Eagles. Their defense, they had the coach, they got the defense, and they have every position but a quarterback. And as much as you need a quarterback in this league, Trent Dilfer, I believe, won a Super Bowl. Some other not so great quarterbacks won Super Bowls with a great team around him. So if he doesn't make mistakes, I think San Fran can beat the Eagles. So just to be different, I'll say San Fran on the NFC side of things. And then on the AFC side of things, gonna say I would love the Bills to finally win one. I grew up with them losing Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. But just to flip it from you, I'll go with the Chiefs here. They got it out again. But I think the Bills are the team. So, I probably would go to the Bills, but I'm going to lean Chiefs for this one and go Chiefs, Niners. And I don't know who wins, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Chiefs they're the only team that's looked complete all year round, but Mahomes they found a way to stop Mahomes the past couple of years in these playoffs, whether it's the Bengals or another team taking him down. He's stoppable. So it's wide open, though, man. Like I would definitely take shots on some teams with some odds here because you never know With the way there's no dominant like Patriot team where everything is right there for the taking.
Yeah, Von Wright, Rex Grossman got to one. Kerry Collins. I look back, even Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, and so anyway, I digress. I'll jump back in. Hey, I'm going to go back to this game. We talked about it earlier. Richie James just is going to help me build some other areas. Give me a guy getting about 7 catches a game, under 4K. That's a double digits waiting to happen, especially with the Vikings pass defense that's ranked last in the league. And then I'm going to go to that Saturday night game in the rushing matchup I really like, and I'll take Travis Etienne at that. Well, Jason, I agree, discount of 6,200.
Yeah, I'm going to have to mess around with my lineup now because he was a guy that I had penciled in, hoping to get him. Etienne is just – I should have took him before McCaffrey because it balances out the stack that I wanted to go to, but – you screwed that up for me already, so
you're welcome.
Thanks to you for that. But Etienne should be, he probably will end up being the most popular running back on the slate. Just do the price and do the matchup. Should have picked him first. That was a rookie mistake by me, but it is what it is. Kenneth Walker, interesting as well at 6,100, but Etienne's really the guy that I think is just going to emerge here in the best spot. He looks a little shaky at times. Like he's like about to get hurt. That's the only thing that worries me. He's going to be highly owned. But I love Etienne. He was in my mock. Now I'm playing around with it to try to get off him. Going to wide receiver. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here, GPP wise, and get some discount. You already took a Giants receiver, so I don't think you're going to take another Giants receiver. So I'm going to go with KJ Osborne. Super cheap. He's turned into the number 2 receiver. If the Giants, want to stay in this game, I think they try to, double Justin Jefferson or whatever you got to do, bracket coverage over him. And that might open some more things for Osborne. You got to get different, on these 2-game slates or 4-game or 6-game slates. I think Osborne might be forgotten a little bit at 4,500, and he flashes that upside. He's had 2 big games in the last 4 games. He's getting more targets, and he's better than Adam Thielen at this point of their careers. So Osborne's a guy that I'm going to go to. And if I'm doubling up here, I will go with Keenan Allen. I'm going to switch up this lineup a little bit because you kind of messed me up. So I'm going to go Keenan Allen to go with Herbert. He's the number 1 target, in this offense. So he's going to have a big game. You said you liked the Jaguars to win this game. He didn't play in the matchup in week 3 against them. But in the last, 4 or 5 weeks when he's been back, he's got double-digit targets in 3 of the last 5, 4 of the last 6, 9 in the other one. He'll probably go over 100 yards in this game. He'll probably catch, 8 to 10 balls here. And if they're playing from behind for any reason, Keenan Allen should be, in a great spot. I like Diggs as well, but I'm going to go Keenan Allen to complete the stack.
All right, cool. I mentioned it earlier. One of the many tight ends I really like this weekend is the highest salary one on the slate, and that's George Kittle. He just seems to be Brock Purdy's guy, even though it's Iowa to Iowa State. He's good, and they found this really good connection. The revitalization of George Kittle has been a big reason that people have maybe even won fantasy football championships. The past 4 weeks, he's averaged alone just about 26 DK points in those 4 weeks. So really like him this week. I mentioned it earlier. There's another one coming Monday night. I like Mike Evans too. I'm going to put Mike Evans in there. Spread this out. My strategy on this card, if you're going to go Saturday through Monday, is I'm going to try and get value in a handful of games. I'm going to leave two or three alone, but I'm not going to go full game stacks on this 6-game slate. I might get a 3-man, 4-man at most, but I'm not going to look to get into a 5 or 6. I think there's value. These teams are good. There's good players. I think you should spread it out a little bit. So that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, you took ATN, so I had to go out there and get some value here at the running back position. So I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette. Just try to get different here at the running back spot. Whether they're trailing or they're winning this game in the 3rd and 4th quarter here, he just catches passes. I know White's there, but I think in a playoff game, in a tight game, they're going to trust Fournette late in this game, regardless of, the score here. In a blowout where they're winning, Fournette's going to be in there running the ball. If they're trailing, he's going to be in there trying to catch passes and relieve some pressure off of the defense and the front four for Dallas here. So I think Fournette's got to play more in this game for them to protect Brady because that pressure is going to come. So I like Fournette just to be different. Touchdown equity should be good here as long as Tampa can move the ball and they're not struggling on offense. 5,300. He scores a touchdown. He catches 4 or 5 passes. Maybe he breaks a couple long runs to push him over 100. I don't know if he's going to get over 100, but at 5,300, I'm cool with him getting like 15, 20 points in that range. I'm going to look at some of his props as well, see where they're at. But as of right now, let me go with Leonard Fournette, bud.
All right, you got another one.
All right, if I got another one, let's see. You already took a tight end. I got to do some math real quick. You know what?
Yep.
Let me get the correlation before you snipe my cheap defense. And let me get the Bucks D too. I've seen enough of Dak, man. He's trash. I've seen enough. I'm still a little sour because I took a prop on Dak last week thinking I got some good odds on it. And he shit the bed. So got to make some money back going against Dak. 2,600, cheap defense, playing at home. I'm not going to go with the Dolphins against Buffalo or Seattle or Baltimore. And Jacksonville is the next cheapest defense, but I got Herbert here. So give me the Bucks D.
I like it. And you're going to like this. I'm going to go with the Bills D and watch what happens when I go Bills D at 3,300. After the first 6 picks in the draft, we spent exactly the same, 34,900. So we got 15,000 each to choose from. And I got to get a little creative here of where I'm going to head. So I'm going to go into the running back. And if we think this game's going to go a little bit, one-sided, I think we're going to see some more James Cook this week. I'll take him at 4,800. Dalvin's brother up in Buffalo. He's been coming on of late. I'm going to be interested to see if they actually start to give this guy more of the field time than Singletary. They've been trending that way. I don't know if they get all the way there yet, but, man, they starting to like Cook. So this is a good number. Okay.
So I'm going to complete this stack. This is a little bit different than the initial build I built. But if you're looking at as far as strategy goes, game stacking will help you try to get different or overstacking games. So I'm going to go with Mike Williams and Evan Ingram just to be different. I know we mentioned all the tight ends that you like. I like Kittle. I like Hawkinson. But with this lineup and this construction, I want to go double wide receivers for Herbert to go have that upside game, go for 330. As long as Mike Williams, he got a little banged up. He left the game early. As long as he's fine, I'm fine with him. So Mike Will, Keenan Allen, going for 100 each. Herbert throws for 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. They're passing. Evan Ingram, I love Etienne. I like Christian Kirk, but Evan Ingram fits in the mold where I know I want to go next with my last piece, and it works out with me. So give me Mike Williams and Evan Ingram.
All right. I like it. And I think I've landed on a spot that it's going to work out for me. It's where I wanted to be. And that's going to be the Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson combo here. Yeah. Cousins has been very solid this year, had one of the best seasons of all time. I think they're going to rely on his arm this weekend. 5,900 leaves me just enough at 4,400 for a very, very nice flex player who has come on quite a bit as of late. And, I'm getting a little exposure to this game more than I thought I would, but I'm good with it. And I'm going to go Zay Jones here at 4,300 to close it out. The guy's just been nothing short of, just phenomenal over these past few weeks, saving some fantasy slates. He faded in the last couple of weeks, but this could be a shootout. I like Zay in this one, and I like this roster.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just looking at him too because I was like, maybe I'll double stack. I have the same amount of money, but I'm gonna go with Isaiah Hodgins. You went with Richie James. I'm gonna go with Hodgins. I think you need a pass catcher or a running back from, the Giants. I really do. I think all the pass catchers are cheap. Saquon in a good spot. Probably the highest, scoring total inside a dome. 2 offenses that are going to try to put up some points here. Garbage time. However it plays out, I don't think that game's going to be a low-scoring game. So I think Hodgins was a guy I wanted initially. I actually got it different. I got Hodgins 1 probably, Slayton upside, and then Richie James 3rd. But they're all – if I rolled the dice, I'd be happy with either one. I think they all fit, and just get your shares. And don't go all in on either of these Giants receivers because none of them are elite. And it just might come down to who scores a touchdown or who gets that one big play. So I think they're all valuable, and it's tough to figure out who's the guy that's going to go out there and have that big game. Other guys that I'll mention that, really interesting, if you want to just look at the quarterback position, Josh Allen always in play, Burrow in play, Cousins makes sense, Trevor Lawrence makes sense, and Daniel Jones, like if I'm going down cheap, Daniel Jones, the rushing upside is there. They might be playing from behind a bunch, so he might be the best value on the slate. I'm not messing with Thompson or Purdy. Probably not messing with Geno Smith as well. But Geno can get sneaky. If they get down big, it could be a lot of garbage time for him too. So running backs, Mixon kind of sneaky. I don't know if I get there in a main lineup. Like Barkley a bunch. Probably staying away from Pollard, Zeke. I think it's going to be kind of a split backfield there. Eckler, if I'm going to get to Eckler, I'd rather go to McCaffrey over Eckler. Fournette kind of sneaky. One of these Buffalo running backs could get there. Whether it's Cook or Singletary, it's probably going to be a blowout. Having shares of those guys, probably a good option. CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver, we didn't talk about him. I think he's in play as well. Jamar Chase obviously in play. Stephon Diggs. If Tua was playing, I would love Diggs. I would love Tyreek Hill, but I still love Diggs though. It's 7,600. It's too cheap for Stephon Diggs. So in a great spot. Keenan Allen, good spot. Kirk, good price. Mike Williams, if he's healthy, I like him as well. Not so much on Metcalf and Waddle, Ayuk. I like both Jacksonville guys. Chris Godwin in play as well. I probably won't mess with Gabe Davis or Michael Gallup or Thielen or Joshua Palmer. But the Giants wide receivers, them and KJ Osborne probably will all go to for value. You can always take a shot on Marvin Jones and Zay Jones as well. Both those guys. And then at tight end, just to kind of round it out, we didn't mention Dalton Schultz. Great spot, 4,300. Hawkinson, Kittle, Ingram, Dawson Knox. All these guys are in play for sure. It's a nice slate, man. It really is. I love every slate, and I'm going to get into all of them, man. We'll be talking about it in the chat. What are you going to say, Dave?
I do. The one I don't know if you said, but I do like Deebo Samuel this week. Watch him, 5,900, coming back off injury. He did play last week. I mean, this could be extreme discount city. It could also be bust city. So good for GPPs. Something to keep an eye on. I think Deebo could be a sneaky under-owned play.
Yeah, I'm looking at props right now just to go over some stuff. CeeDee Lamb sitting around 75.5. You got Kirk anywhere from 65 to 60. Actually, no, 57 to 60. Godwin 65 to 68. McCaffrey too low as well, man. He's 38.5 on receiving yards. Might be something to interest us, in the betting markets. Trying to see any anomalies here. Dalton Schultz 37 to 39. Slayton, what do you think Darius Slayton is? Here, I'll stump you right now. What do you think his receiving prop is?
42.
50.5 on the low side, 51 on the high side. So that's kind of high. The guy that you just mentioned, what do you think Deebo's at receiving yards?
He might only be at that 39 range.
Yeah, he's 40 on the low side at PointsBet. As high as 43 over at DraftKings. Ingram is, so you can already start arbitraging some of this stuff. Ingram is as low as 37, as high as 41, which is kind of interesting. Kittle is over Deebo, which is saying something. From where we started this year to where we ended this year, one's really emerged, as the big dog. Hodgins 43 to 44. Jamar Chase, where do you think he lands?
75, 76.
You're pretty good at this, bro. You're pretty good at this game. He's 75, 76, depending on the book. FanDuel's got him low at 74.5. Let me see a couple other guys. Justin Jefferson as low as 91, as high as 95 receiving yards. KJ Osborne, this is one I might actually bet. You get him as low as 38.5 right now.
Yeah, I would have had him about 40. Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 40 in some spots, 35, 38.5 on the low side. I might end up betting that. Keenan Allen, pretty high. He's 73 to 74, depending on where you get it. Fournette receiving yards. What do you think he's at?
22.
28 to 30.
Wow. That's
pretty high. So that's some nice value at 5,300. I always look at props. And I look at Stick's projections, and he actually factors in props too into his projection models. Vegas is right a lot of the time. Sometimes they're off. Sometimes they're definitely off, but sometimes they're right on the nose too. Mike Evans, 64.5. As you can see, Rachaad White, he's only 13 to 15. So they're saying if it's passing down, it's going to be Fournette out there and not Rachaad White. So that's definitely something I want to take into account when looking on DraftKings specifically. Your guy, Richie James, what's he at?
He's probably 33, 34.
45 to 47.
Whoa.
Minnesota's defense, man. It's
I know they're that bad, but I mean, he's third wheel in there, and I would have Saquon maybe. Like you said, 10 targets last time.
Saquon's only 20 to 22 receiving yards.
Yeah, that's going over.
That's going over?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Stephon Diggs, low side 77, high side 80. Hawkinson, low of 47, high of 51. What do you think your boy T. Higgins is at?
So he's got a questionable tag on him. And, T. Higgins, we ate up in the playoffs all last year. I think he hit the over in every game. I'll say 64.
So this is where you want to start betting, Dave. MGM and DraftKings and Caesars has him at 61.5.
Yeah.
PointsBet, 55.
Yep.
FanDuel, 56. So we might want to hop on T before that number moves at 55. The only thing that would worry me is blowout. That's the only thing that he won't get there.
True.
If he's a little bit hobble, second half, they don't throw the ball. But he could get that in the first quarter.
Oh, no doubt.
Legit. Yeah.
Yeah. Baltimore knows they have to guard Jamar, and they got to do something about it. So who's the next guy? Yeah, I agree with you.
Pollard, this might be one I want to hit too. I learned my lesson, though. There's nothing more tilted to me than betting running back receiving yards, and they just don't get the target. Like Pollard as low as 19.5, as high as 22.5. ATN 15 to 16. Boyd is low. Probably won't get to Boyd. Let me look at the running backs real quick just to kind of see where they're at on rushing yards. If anybody has any questions, hit us up now because we're going to be finishing the show in just a minute. But I always like looking at props, and shout out to the sportsbook. We got props on a Wednesday, which we typically don't have.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be hammering it. Austin Eckler, man, 45.5 on a low side, 51 on the high side. What do you think McCaffrey's at?
He's probably versus Seattle with a decent middle of the tier rush defense. 64.
70 on a low side, 74 on a high side. Dalvin Cook, 70 on a low side, 75 on a high side. This is a funny one. Daniel Jones. What do you think Daniel Jones' rush prop is?
He could be in the 20s, so 25.
High of most books are 40.5. 40.5. FanDuel has it at 38.5 on the low side.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Singletary can get as low as 44.5.
Yeah.
Zeke as low as 47.5. Joe Mixon, who never gets over, low as 54, high at 57. Josh Allen, 50 across the board. Every book has him at 50 straight.
Under.
Kenneth Walker, 55 to 59. Here's another one I want to attack. Lenny, what do you think he's at?
Rushing wise?
Rushing wise.
He's probably, Dallas actually does not have a great rush defense. So I'll go 50.
Guess again. It's lower.
Oh, I guess he's at the 40 level then. 40.
Guess again. Lower.
Wow, 33.
He's as low as 36.5 right now and as high as 40.5. How does Leonard Fournette not get 36.5 rushing yards in a playoff game?
So, I mean, I watch that team a lot, and they really do alternate series. So, only way he doesn't get there is if for some way, somehow, the hot series are the ones with Rashad. But otherwise, in a balanced game, he gets there.
Yeah, Rashad White's the same range, 35 to 37.
Yeah.
Fournette's 36 to 40. So they don't know where they don't want to like if you have conviction, you just bet one of them. And I think with the Dallas front four, I'm gonna talk to Sticks about it and see about it. I'm gonna ask a couple other people, but like I would think you want to protect Brady, not with small Rashad White. You want it with, bruising Leonard Fournette back there, which means he probably make it like a 70-30, snap share instead of a 50-50. So I like that. Saquon, what do you think you got him at?
So he could be as high as 75.
Yeah, low 71, high 75.
Yeah.
Etienne, low of 76, high of 78. So that's why we both wanted to draft Etienne. He's that San Diego defense or LA defense, which is trash. Fournette, though, man, that's shocking to me. 36.5 rush yards for Fournette.
It is. I like Rashad White better. I just think he's a better football player. But I get that, what you said in a passing game, he's definitely a better blocker. There
has been some games he's gone under, 36.5. So I guess Vegas just want to middle it down the middle. I don't know.
Or here's my thing with Rashad White. He breaks one level, he's 14, 15 yards. That doesn't happen with Fournette. So it's got to be volume for Fournette to get that number.
It's so crazy, though. 36.5 for even a guy who's splitting the backfield. It's crazy to me, man.
Not a good rush defense. Not a very good rush
defense. It's not a good rush defense. And, sometimes Tampa Bay overly runs the ball. They might. I've seen possessions. They ran the ball first down, second down, third down, and Brady just walks off the field like, all right, we didn't get a first down. That can easily happen. And if they're winning the game, they're going to try to run it down your throat type of thing. So I don't know. I kind of like that Leonard Fournette one. I like KJ Osborne. The T. Higgins number is too low as well. So as of right now, if I had to make some bets, those three are kind of standing out to me, but I'll definitely get it. Get with Sticks, get with Sia. We have some time this Saturday and Sunday. Dave, any bets that you've made already or any bets that you're looking to make?
Yeah, I did get I got Jacksonville +3 when it originally spiked up to that number. So I'm happy there. If for some reason it gets crazy and I could get, and try and play middle game there and it gets back to even, I might play a smaller Chargers bet. But so far, Jacksonville and Tampa are the two that I've gotten in. Really don't know what I'm going to do on the big numbers yet. And I think we're all sitting there trying to figure it out. I like the Giants as a side. I really do. I just want to get a little closer to that game and see a few more injury reports before I'm ready to lock them in.
Yeah, my guy Statsation. I think he already jumped on the Jaguars, but I don't know, man. The coaching is like 100%. Like Staley's trash, Peterson's great. That is like a given. But Lawrence is better than he was. But in that last game that I watched closely against Tennessee, like he probably shouldn't have won that game. It was the only reason they won that game is because he was going against Dobbs. He missed A. Jones wide open. He missed a lot of passes. He's better, but I don't think he's better than Herbert. I don't think Jacksonville has as many weapons. The only thing they have is a better coach because Staley is that bad. That if they had any other coach in LA, I think this game is easily LA. I still think LA wins, but you and John, who I really trust, are both on the Jacksonville side. So I don't know, man. It's a tough game. The public in me wants to bet Herbie over Lawrence, but you guys are probably right, man. I don't know.
We'll see. There's a little bit of other things I like about Jacksonville, just the way that they've kind of played to close out the year. And like we said earlier, Chargers in close games. Once I get the key number, I really liked it. Under the key number, it's definitely a coin flip.
It's so stupid that Staley actually got Bosa hurt and Mike Williams hurt. And even Herbert was playing late into the third quarter, fourth quarter. Keenan Allen was out there in the fourth quarter. This dude's been He's like 40 years old now. He gets hurt every single week. Like, why are you playing him in immediately? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. No sense.
And that's them. Like you said, they just don't make any sense.
Yeah, so it is what it is. We'll be in expert chat, making lineups. Sticks is going to be, making updates to projections every single day this week. We're going to be playing every slate, man. Showdown slates every day. Game-by-game breakdowns will be up on WinDailySports.com. Expert chat is where we'll really go through our cores, give our favorite plays. My props will be in there before each game. I'll definitely be betting props on every game. And we got our serious show coming down on Saturday. Golf show, if you missed it, was yesterday. Great show by the guys. A lot more to come. If you have any questions, head over to the Discord. All the information's in the show notes here. Dave, it's been a pleasure, man, doing another show with you. We've got a couple more of these shows.
Love it.
Then the Super Bowl coming up, man. Good luck to your Eagles, man. Well rested. You got to sit back. Non-stressful week for you, because I know it gets stressful during these times where your team is in the playoffs. So I'm not going to be stressing, man. I'm going to be stressing my teams, my lineups, but not my games, man. So good luck to everybody. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up in our expert chat. We are out of here. Have a good first week of the playoff, everybody.